Other interesting business news, you have Apple debuting a new chip as well as an iPad Pro, which again is brilliant because that is one of the few things you can do to differentiate yourselves from the competition. When you break down a lot of electronics, and again, I don't recommend necessarily taking your electronics apart because unless you're an engineer or you're a really good OCD, you can track down all the nuts and bolts, they can be pretty difficult to actually put back together. May or may not have some experience when I was young taking apart radios and not being able to put them back together back when radios were a thing. But nevertheless, one of the big things that all these companies are trying to use to differentiate themselves is making their own chipsets, which I mean, for Apple, they had decades of using Intel, which again, Intel, they have their pros and cons. Obviously, they're one of the most well-known, respected semiconductor manufacturers on the planet, and a lot of computers shoot the computer I built for the podcast editing. Chose to go with Intel for that specific use case. But with Apple, they started to move away because again, the more custom you can make your chipset, the more you can actually incorporate it to work well, better with your technology, with your software, and gives you more of a competitive advantage where everyone else, on average, is using things like Qualcomm, AMD, and Intel. So again, it's a brilliant move by Apple. Now, specifically, let me see here. This comes to us thanks to Emma Thorne over at LinkedIn News, and she says, "quote Apple's new chipset could take on industry-leading rivals. The tech giant unveiled the M4 chip." I'm going to stop that quote right there. It'd be kind of hilarious. Apple would never do this because they're based in California, which ironically the AR-15 was made and invented in California, but can't really own one there. But it'd be kind of funny if, for Apple's M4 chipset, they had some type of pun or incorporation with an AR-15. Again, they never do it, but to me, that made me smile at that idea. But nevertheless, she said, quote, I'll reset that. The tech giant unveiled its M4 chipset in its Let Loose event, calling it outrageously powerful and promising it would be a new game changer for AI-related tasks with the iPad OS. The chip will make its debut on the new iPad Pro, which will also be rolling out at the event, along with a new version of the iPad Air tablet. Apple claims that they're the company's thinnest devices ever. The event was the biggest day for the iPad since the introduction. That's a quote within a quote. So Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, said this. He said, "The biggest day for the iPad since its introduction," unquote. Which, again, from a design and aesthetic appearance, Apple makes some fantastical products. I mean, personally, I'm almost unfathomable knowing that this is a 50% profit margin, which in tech is unheard of, which good Apple. I mean, they give out a great product and service people are willing to buy. But every year they keep focusing on making it thinner and thinner and thinner. I mean, it got to the point where I think the last generation iPhone was so flimsy that it would just bend over just modicum of pressure. And I mean, one of my friends said, and this is a common phenomenon apparently, one of the iPad Pro Banana Falcon MacBook Bananas, whatever they call the nomenclature these days, one of those devices, if you just shut the lid on the laptop and just lifting it up, you'd crack the screen. It's that thin and that fragile. A child is more durable than that. So the instructions for Apple is, if you want to open their thin laptop, you have to take your fingers gingerly, place them on the side of the monitor, and lift it up. I almost didn't believe my friend when he told me this because it's so bizarre and ridiculous. And he said, no, he lifted it up from the middle and it cracked the screen. And the rule is, apparently, the word on the street is Apple fixes it once and then not again. He also had someone who put a grain of rice on the laptop and then broke it as well. Which, again, let me know in the comments. Is that your number one thing you're looking for in an Apple product? Do you just want to be thinner and thinner and thinner? Electronics have gotten so compact, I almost think it's not a really compelling selling point. Now, having it linking to their research development into AI, that is a big buzzword in IT. That, again, that just there probably shot up the stock a little bit. And again, there are many business and personal use cases for AI. So I think that's more of the compelling reason to actually get people excited about this new debut of the product. But again, it's good for them to keep making their own chips. They're going to get better and better at it. It will be fascinating to see if we see other competitors do this. Microsoft is doing it for their data center applications, so they can have more of a compelling reason to use things like Microsoft Cloud. And Microsoft does, again, it's not the biggest thing of their portfolio, but they do have their little computers or tablets that a lot of people appreciate. It'd be fascinating to see if they start to make their own chipset, and at what point do companies like AMD and Intel start to get worried about some of those legacy accounts that give them so much business. So let me know, is this a compelling reason where you're going to go out and you're going to buy some new iPads for thousands of dollars that are a little bit thinner and the camera's a little bit better and a little bit faster? I mean, personally, I won't. I mean, you got 40-year hyperinflation, political economic uncertainty. Probably not on the top of my priorities list personally, but let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. And if you have 1/1000 second, do me a favor and click that like, subscribe, and follow button and tell your friends and tell your enemies especially your enemies. It might piss them off, or you might win them over to become your best friend because they're so enamored and so elated with the great content. Or it might just make a funny story. Either way, definitely try that at least once. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave us a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.